Good morning, good evening, and welcome to another craft. No, oh my God, it's not a crafty day. It's Monday, and we're talking live streaming and YouTube. I was just like trying to shut some tabs, and oh my goodness. So good morning to everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome and welcome. Now, I wanted to cover a few things today, but the first thing I wanted to say, other than the actual right name of the show, so, you know, I'm having coffee. Just human here. I'm just a human. Is that there's been a lot of platform changes, right? So a lot of platform changes going on across YouTube, and lots of upcoming things coming up. Now, one thing I do want to say straight up is I'm not going to be going through the list because why? Doug did an absolute banger on Saturday. So you need to just go over to Doug's live stream, and he went through everything point by point in such detail. Me doing it just feels silly. Honestly, it just feels silly. So I want to send, if you're here for that, I want you to go over and check out Doug's video. Now, it's not to say that if you've got questions about it, like absolutely drop them in. But if you want to know what all of the updates and changes that are coming over time, and to be clear, most of what was announced is in the future. It's just, hey, this is our plan. This is our roadmap for YouTube. So most of it's not happening. Some of it's still in the experimental testing stages in very small markets. So keep that in mind as well. A lot of these things that a lot of people are like up in arms about, they're not happening this week. We've got time. We've got time. Oh, and Doug also says he has a tier list of what's coming out, and that will be out Monday, US Monday. So keep an eye out. If you're not subscribed to Doug's channel and you don't have notifications on, it's like you don't want to learn YouTube. But the other thing I wanted to quickly cover, especially because we do have a LinkedIn audience, and we do have LinkedIn views, is on LinkedIn they have been using they've been using all of our data to train their AI, and they automatically opted everybody in. So on my LinkedIn profile, so if you don't follow me on LinkedIn, please go and do that. But on my LinkedIn profile, I have I shared Liron Segev's instructional video on how to change it. It's not difficult to do. It's just in your privacy and settings, and you can just flick it straight off. So that is something that you can do if you don't want to be a part of that. You can totally do that. But being transparent and being clear about these things, I think, is actually in platforms' favor, right? So if they came out and said, hey, everybody, you know, we've got all these amazing AI tools, but to train these AI tools, we need to utilize the data that you've agreed to on this platform. That's one thing. But to find out from, like, sorry, Liron, but some rando that this is what they're doing, because they never sent out anything. LinkedIn never sent anything to change the TOS. Then I would definitely be looking into what you have agreed to on these different platforms. And you have to make the decision, because for some of them, like in this particular instance, you can just turn it off. It's no problems. In other instances, if you really dislike something and you can't turn it off, the only option you have is to leave the platform. And you have to make the decision as to whether you're willing to take that level of a stand, or if you're like, you know what, I don't like it, but what are you going to do? You know, you can make comments, you can, send messages into like help portals and chats for those particular platforms and just let them know that you're not actually pleased about this thing. So there's always a way, and you probably will never get a reply, but at least you know you did something. Let's have a look here. Livestream Consultant says, I'm curious about your take on the community thing. It's still only about as clear as Mississippi mudwater right now. Look, the reality is a lot of these things are an idea. And therefore they are as clear as Mississippi mudwater. And so we don't have a lot of information. But from what I'm seeing about it, it feels kind of Facebooky, if that makes any sense. So a community, which I agree with Doug, they need to call these things something else. It's going to start getting confusing and convoluted with like 4 different things called community. But these communities, I think, are actually a good idea. So only subscribers can post, either yourself as the, you or any of your team who have access to your channel can post, as well as subscribers. And this is one of the big reasons why I have Facebook and Discord groups, is because I don't want to be the one posting all the time. I want my community to be able to share what they're doing and to be able to see what they're up to. And so being able to have them post, I think will actually be really interesting. I do have a membership over on my Fiberific channel. I'll be very curious to see if there's a members only option for this sort of thing. I think that could be really amazing, because I think YouTube are realizing that yes, we definitely have, these membership tiers, but when they're looking through what everyone's offering on these membership tiers, there's a lot of them that offer something off platform. And YouTube really don't like it when we go off their platform. And so they're trying to make it a bit more social media-ish. So, it's one of these things where, like, I don't personally consider YouTube a social media. I consider it like TV, where I watch, maybe interacting comments, but that's it. Whereas social media, I can post and I can do things on there. And I think YouTube is trying to lean that way a little. So we'll see how it goes. Like, I'm like, keep my eyes open, keeping posted. I think it could be positive. I do love that we can still moderate. So if someone's posting stuff, even if they're a subscriber and they're posting stuff that's inappropriate or, not relevant, I still like that you can remove that. And I think that, hopefully we'll be able to have rules around, like we do with live streams. Like if you open up my description, there are rules about what you can and can't post in the live streams before our moderators will come in and swing the ban hammer. But having a spot where it'll be clear what the rules are, being able to post in these YouTube communities, I think as long as we can be really clear with our communities about what we do and don't accept. The other thing to remember is there's an on-off switch. You don't have to turn this on. You don't have to. If it's outside of your bandwidth, if it's just too much for you to cope with, you don't have to turn it on. But if you are already managing like other external groups, a Discord, and if you're like, okay, do we want to have this as a thing? Do you want to test that? You can be really clear. Amazing Yacht Destinations has sent me 3 coffees. Thank you for starting my Monday in a positive manner.
Yes, it's coffee time. Coffee. Cappuccino. Java. Yes.
Thank you so much, Amazing Yacht Destinations. I very much appreciate the coffees. And good morning. I just saw your message. Good morning from Thailand. Doug says he's optimistic, but the details will be crucial once they start the wider rollout. I 100% agree with this statement. Let's have a look here. Paris Tube says, good morning. It's a public holiday in WA. Are you WA like Western Australia or WA somewhere else? Because there's a couple of WAs around the world. Do I get to be here for this? I get to be here for the life the whole time. That's awesome. It's awkward sometimes when you only get to be in for a few minutes, but I do appreciate you jumping in. And I do notice that you Paris Tube and others as well come in and watch the replays and comment on them. I definitely appreciate that. Doug says that one thing I noticed is that most of the examples provided were mobile based, some specifically mentioned as mobile features. But I think there is a clear mobile TV focus around the announced features. Yeah, look, I definitely noticed that. Look, those of you that are here, I did plan to make a video on this and I haven't done as yet, but over on I'm going to grab a link to it. Let me just find it. One thing I wanted to say, especially like I watch a lot of YouTube on television. My office, while it's all kitted out for live streaming and everything, it is not a comfortable place to sit and research and watch content and, chill in front of YouTube and things like this. Chair is not comfortable, and especially not at the moment. I have stitches in the middle of my back. It's not fun. So if I am leaning forward because I'm trying not to touch the back of my chair, but it is not a comfortable spot. So I like to sit in my living room. I like to sit in my comfy chair with my big TV that's got a YouTube app on it. But one thing I've noticed is a lot of channels have not optimized their home pages for YouTube. And I created a template, which if I ever get there, hang on a second. I haven't put it somewhere super obvious, but it's on the digital assets page of my website, which funnily enough, it's the only page I haven't fixed. There was a big update and it's the only page I haven't fixed. So it's you know, the header is split. I don't know why it did it, but I had to just go in and do nothing and click save and the headers got fixed. Anyway, I've got a link here to my digital assets, and on this page, I'm just going to screen share here. If I do, I have any screen share screens test set up for this Monday live stream? I do not. Well, that's dumb. Let me look here. There we go. Okay. So this is the usual-ish banner art that we used to seeing. We're used to seeing the gray area and these blue areas. We're used to seeing all of those. Now, when you go and look at a YouTube channel on your television, there's things that are covering over your banner. So I've added in these sections that are affecting you if you are having your YouTube audience on television. Now you can just go and save this and download it and drop it into your preferred editing, whether you're a Canva or Adobe Express or Photoshop. My brain went to Premiere Pro and it's like, no, but Photoshop, whatever it is that you edit on, wherever you made your channel banner, you can use this. I do have the image size written in there as well, so that you can make sure that you're getting that actual image size for your, what's the word? My brain won't give me the word. The actual size of your finished thing in the whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So you can totally go in and update your channel banner to make allowances. Now, this long playlist description, it is only if one of your first playlists that show on your channel, if you've edited it and made it a long one. And if it's a short one, it's actually just over to the side, so it's not in the way. But it's really important to have a look at these things to see how the layout looks. I'm just trying to think if I don't have mine handy to be able to show you the befores and afters. I should probably do that. But let me know in the chat, have you changed your channel art to be TV compatible? Because like if you're looking for mobile and desktop, it hasn't changed. But if you have a large TV audience, then you need to be double checking that you're not making things harder for them, because YouTube have moved some things. So the about section's a big one. It goes right over the top of everything here. It's really quite frustrating, but you can work around it. And I definitely did. Let me just, I mean, where would I have that? I would have it somewhere, but you can just go and check my channel on a television and you'll be able to see it. So if you go to the YouTube app and search for the channel, it brings up the whole channel page and you'll be able to see what I did there. Because I can't for the life of me think of where I've put the file. So, yeah, and let's just go back to, yeah. Let's have a look. You know, the join link, it doesn't work on iPhone as a link to click, and the shorts look so different on an iPhone compared to an Android. What is the join link? Okay, so yeah, I don't think you have an option to join memberships from an iPhone anymore. I think you need to go to a desktop. And I don't know about the shorts, but yeah, there are differences between what Android gets and what iPhones get. There are differences. Yeah, sorry, join AK and memberships. It took me a little second. It did. It took me a little second. I was a bit thrown off because I realized I was showing some stuff that I probably wouldn't have normally shown without realizing it. Anyway, so yeah, so if you do want to join someone's channel memberships, you can't do it from an iPhone. You need to either jump on a desktop, because like, I'm not quite sure what YouTube's thoughts about it were. And I think that was exceptionally loud. Why was that so loud? I don't even know what it was. Nothing came up on screen. Yeah, there you go. It was. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was a rev share thing, because Apple wants their cut. Because Apple normally has their cut, and then YouTube actually gets less. Like Apple doesn't increase the price; they just send less through to YouTube. So I think YouTube just went, well, no, let's just make this not available for you then, because this is how much it costs. So if you are mobile only, it's going to be you'll have to go to desktop sites to be able to have a look at anything. I think the problem is, do I have Discord open? That sounds like a Discord alert. Anyway, I don't know. So, but yeah, so I just I had the two main points I wanted to get to today, which was the AI training, and that Doug's got all the info on the updates. But one thing I wanted to talk about. Yeah, there you go. They get a lot less than the 70%. Absolutely, they do. Absolutely, the math really doesn't work out for creators. On a short, you have to leave almost the third section empty on Android. On iPhone, it's the bottom half because of where the related video link goes. Okay. Yeah. I tend to, like, when I'm making shorts, I'm usually making them from a clip from a live stream or something like that. So, you know, if all the information goes from here down, you know, of this part of the image, then that's fine, as long as, you know, don't have things over my face. I don't know what it is. I don't like words over my face. It affects me in zero ways, but I prefer not to have words over my face. And this is one of the things with shorts. You have to make these decisions if you're happy to have your content look like that. And you have to decide it for yourself. And to see what you want to do and how you want it to look. Yeah, Doug's got it. Shorts are complicated. Absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. Look, I'll be really honest. A, I'm not much of a shorts viewer, and B, when I watch shorts, I'm a scroller. I'm not looking at titles. I don't open the descriptions. I'm just watching whatever the content is that I got served. And I do the same thing with Reels and TikToks and things like that. I very rarely follow any further. When I'm in the shorts frame of mind or the short bursts of content, I'm just in either I could be in a waiting room or something like that, and I'm just scrolling. I'm not there to be educated or anything like that. And that's me personally as a shorts viewer. So yeah, it's definitely, you've got to think about how your shorts viewers interact with shorts and work out what is the best way to get them to either click on to the next thing or whatever. But for me personally, I found I make long form content. So I like to make long form content. Like, it's very difficult for me to make like a dedicated short that's under 60 seconds. Obviously I can talk under wet cement with a mouthful of marbles, so I find it very difficult. But I also very much appreciate those creators that do it, especially if it's just like a short, sharp thing that just needs like a quick instruction on how to fix it. I like that as well. Amazing Yacht Destinations wants to know if there's any analytics for devices in the YouTube analytics. Yes, there are. I believe you need to go to desktop, not mobile, and you can really drill down into the type of devices that people are using. I don't believe you can get it on Studio app on mobile. I'm just double checking that I'm not full of rubbish. Let me just have a look. Audience. I can look at the viewers, their age, their geography. Oh no, that's the formats I've watched. Yeah, I don't think I can really drill down into what devices they're watching on my mobile, but you can definitely do it in desktop. And do we even need to go? I don't think you even need to go to advanced features to get that information on desktop. Let me just look. I'll just have a quick look. YouTube. And I'm just having a really quick look just to see if I can find the location for it in Studio. I'm assuming it's in audience. Okay, advanced mode. Okay, so you do need to go to advanced mode, and there is, let me just, oops, no. Off. There we go. Let me just screen share again. Where was that one? The screen share with the circle. There we go. Okay. So you just need to click into the advanced mode. So that's all I did was just go straight into the advanced mode. But then you need to click the more toggle, and you can choose by device type. And then you can see mobile phone, computer, tablet, TV. And so you can see what kind of device they're using. So I hope that helps. Go back. That's not the one. There we go. Okay. Daniel Batal did the shorts thing exceptionally well with his DaVinci tips. Oh, he is on fire with those DaVinci tips. Absolutely. And it absolutely proves, like, hands down, cards out, that shorts can absolutely work for educational content. Absolutely. You can, and if you can get the little tidbit of information that you need to share in that 60 seconds, if you're poignant, if you are just get it in, I can't see the difference between mobile phone. It doesn't show me. Let me just, smartphone. It just says smartphones, feature phones, and handheld gaming devices. So at this stage, I don't believe you can drop it down to. Doug, did I show the screen that you're expecting to see, or have I missed something? I know that with Google Analytics, I can drill, like when I'm looking at who's looking at my website, I can drill right down to the device type and which iOS they're running and all that sort of stuff. So Google definitely get that information, but I don't know if they would share that. Operating system. Oh, there we go. All right. So instead of clicking device type, choose operating system. Let me just go back to screen share here. Sorry, Doug's like probably screaming at the screen, like just to do the thing, but I did find it with the circle. There we go. Okay. So I suggested going to device type, and that gives you how many is watching on computer, tablet, TV, or mobile phone. But if you go to more and choose operating system, then you can see who's on Android, Windows, iOS, Mac, Amazon. Like it really digs right down. So that is operating system rather than device. So you get lots of options here. I see a majority of my viewers for this last 28 days are Android viewers. So that's pretty interesting. It's Android, then Windows, then iOS, then Mac OS. Very interesting. I don't really drill down into that one that much. I probably should. So I hope that helps. That definitely makes more sense, being able to drill it down into the operating system. So let me just go back to here. Yeah, Daniel's absolutely a rock star. Yeah, that's some great info on the analytics if you're trying to optimize for a specific device or OS. Yeah, look, because one of the things was, like, especially for me on my Fiberific channel, I started noticing that the conversation in the chat was a lot of the ladies, or, you know, the viewers, I should specify viewers. They're not all ladies. Well, they're not all female. I'm just like digging a hole. So a lot of the viewers were commenting in the chat that they were sitting in their lounge rooms watching on TVs and then commenting on their, using their mobile devices for commenting. And it took, like, at first I was just like, I don't actually like the idea of being on their televisions, because it's a little confronting. Because, like, as you guys know, I don't do the whole let's get beautiful. I just make sure I'm clean, fresh, that sort of stuff. I've got stupid skin that, like, you know, it's like, ooh, the air here today is awful, so I'm going to go splotchy, and foundations make it worse. So I don't tend to wear a lot of makeup. Like, you know, I make sure it's moisturized and clean and fresh and all that sort of stuff. But I'm like really sensitive about it because I've had this face my whole life, and there've been comments made, and so I'm like, oh, I don't like that they're on the television. So it took me ages to actually go past that emotional block of, oh, I don't like this, to, okay, cool, they're watching on television. What can I do differently or better to make a television viewing experience better? Yeah, better get a bigger shovel. Tell me about it. So, you know, being able to understand the differences, and, you know, like the fact that the TV channel banner art needed to change. So I did it in the most inefficient way possible. I have a laptop. Now, admittedly, my laptop is an absolute joke of a laptop. It has to be basically plugged into mains power all the time because its battery just goes. Also, it can't do much of anything. It's a really weak, lame. Anyway, it's like, oh, yay! I'm basically a glorified 6-year-old Android tablet. That's like, think of that functionality of it like a 6-year-old Android tablet, and then add a keyboard to it. That's basically the quality of my anyway, that's my laptop, but that's going to change. So rather than use the laptop, I was sitting here and I'm having to run out to the lounge room like after I refresh to go and check it on the television, rather than sit in the lounge room, do the work on Adobe Express on my laptop, and just look at it. You know, no, I got some steps in. So yeah. It's definitely one of those things. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I don't identify as a woman, but I do enjoy the productivity streams. It's universal. We all need to be productive. That's one of the things, like over on the Fiberific channel, once a month, so just this weekend just gone, I have what I call a productivity stream. And it is basically just me working, doing whatever, whether it's craft, whether, you know, sometimes I just need someone there to keep me on point, because like how it started was I had a project that had literally 11 billion ends to weave in. And the project had already been in the naughty quarter for years, and I'd finally pulled it out, finished putting it all together, but all these ends had to be woven in. And like, if you're a crafter, you understand ends are the devil. And so I decided I'm going to run a special stream. And I just have Creator Mix pumping because I hardly talk. I'm just sitting there working with the camera, showing what I'm working on. And I'll sometimes interact with the chat a little bit. But its goal is for people to be able to do whatever it is they need to be doing, but together. So if you've got washing to do, if you've got an assignment to work on, it's a little bit harder if you're editing, you know, but you could be script writing or researching or whatever. It doesn't matter what you're doing. We're all just doing stuff. So that's the whole goal of the productivity streams. But yeah, it's definitely one of those things, and I love doing it. And I missed last month, and I think I missed the months before. And it's just one of those things. Yes, it's very much exactly this. It's body doubling. It's very, very, very much body doubling. And I didn't realize how much I needed body doubling until I started realizing that me doing this was helping other people. And so, yeah, it's definitely helps a lot of people just get things done. Like, you know, if you have a visitor over and you sit there folding washing while you're chatting, like, and not just by a visitor, I mean like a best mate vibes visitor. Like, you've got tasks that have got to get done. And they're not going to judge you if you do it with them around or whatever. They're just going to hang with you while you do it. You don't expect them to help or anything like that. Just having them there is helpful. I love Chantelle's 11 billion numbering system. You're not alone. You're not alone. There's a few people who have commented on it. I still have no finger mitts to knit together from last year. Oh. Were you making mittens, or was I making mittens? I mean, I tried making some mittens. I bailed because I screwed up the thumbs. So I got little short round thumbs, and they just make making mittens awkward. But anyway, it's total sidetrack. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. So this is the thing, right? Like we've got YouTube, we've got social media, we've got all these different aspects of our creator journeys, and working out what to focus on sometimes can be a little tricky. watching my live streams, you can see how much I struggle with keeping on target. And that's just in this 1 hour or hour and a half or whatever it is that we have together, session a week, and trying to keep focused. So let me know in the chat, how do you keep focused on your journey as a creator? What is it that keeps you making your content, uploading it every week, whether it's live streaming, shorts, long form, it doesn't matter, whether it's posts in a blog, whatever it is that you're doing as part of your journey. Let me know how you keep on top of it each week. For me, I'm a list person. I've got to have lists that I can cross things off. I'm just like checking, like I can just flash things up. Like I just have to have like a book of things. And I go through so many of these books, and I've found I need the paper. I've tried doing my lists on tablets. I do have, I do use, what do you call that? I'm an Android phone person, and I use Keep Notes, and they have little checkbook lists, and I use those for like packing lists and stuff like that. But when it comes to, actually doing it, I don't get the same like feeling of achievement when I check it off a digital list as I do drawing through a line on a piece of paper. I don't know what it is, but I need the piece of paper. So, like right now I'm researching some videos for this channel. So you need to keep an eye out. There's some stuff coming up where I'll be comparing some different live streaming softwares, because a lot of us are having to make some decisions about our live streaming softwares going forward. And I've been finding some really great options, which I'm not going to go into right now, but there are options out there that, you know, for a lot of people, they thought that, you know, what's going to happen now? What am I going to do? Because this was the one I liked because it was easy. Well, there's others that are easy. But, you know, my advice is still the same. If you're a Mac user and you got Mac Silicon, go Ecamm. There's a link in the description. Ecamm is pretty good. It's pretty good. Ecamm's great, and it's at a pretty good price point compared to some of the others, so it's good. Oh, League of Minor Karen, she's making her own, because I'm just like, did I promise someone mittens and then I haven't delivered them? Like, I was like, oh gosh. But yeah, you do. Sometimes you've got to just make all the bits and sew them together. I'm very good at making all the bits and then keeping them in a bag forever. That's it. I tend to try and make things all in one piece if I can. Live stream consultant says, I'm a paper person for notes and lists. I have dozens of notepads all around for different things and projects. Yeah, absolutely. Legal Minded Karen says, I use old envelopes to write notes or post-it notes, or I email myself, or I put it in my electronic calendar. Look, I'm one of these people, if it's made it to my calendar, it gets done. And if something is in my calendar and the person on the other end cancels and doesn't notify me or something like that, and they just decide it's not happening without letting me know, it's one of the few places where I'm like, if it's in here, it's like above everything else. If it makes my calendar, my digital calendar, it gets prioritized above everything. So, yeah, it's one of those things. So, whereas like my notepads and things like that. And look, I do have to put in the minutiae of the detail in my notes. I can't just make a video. No, I need to come up with the title, come up with the thumbnail, include XYZ in the thumbnail. Then I need to write a good hook, and I need to be specific. I need to be really, really specific. And that helps me to also manage my time, and it helps me to sort of think about it before I record it, because as you see, waffler. I'm a waffler. I can't help it. And so making sure that I can really keep my pre-recorded videos really to just be informative with as little waffle as possible. I can't say no waffle. It's not going to happen. But yeah, it's one of those things. You'll be waiting for the video to drop. Yeah, there's going to be a few videos. So I'm not just going to go, this is the best one, because it's not going to be a case of this is the best one. You're going to have to work out what's the best one for you. And then throughout I'll give you my opinion on if this is one I'll change to, or if this, I'll let you know what I'm going to do. But there was a few more choices than even I anticipated when I was making my list. I've got a lot more choices than I thought I did. So I thought I had like 5, but no. there's considerably more than 5 to choose from. So yeah, absolutely. I'm going to keep you in suspense for sure. I'm going to keep you checking back to see if the videos come out. It also keeps me accountable to get it actually done. So if I don't tell anyone, I don't do it because I don't like making videos, because I don't like editing my own face, which is why I love editing for other people. And also, oh, there's just sirens. It's just sirens. It's nothing important. But also live streams, because I don't edit those at all. They just go out as is. So yeah, it's just one of these things. So I'm sort of sitting here thinking about all the different platform changes that are coming up, and I'm trying not to be overwhelmed, because there was just so many announced at Made on YouTube, but just to sort of realize they will be drip fed, you know, like how long did it take for them to actually talk about the thumbnail testing compare to actually delivering thumbnail testing compare for the majority of users. So, you know, we could be that far down the track before some of these things actually come to become available to most of our channels. So keeping it on these things, and there's a lot of things there that actually I won't have access to in Australia, because their testing areas or their current areas are Australia's not included. So I'm not going to be able to test them. I'm not going to be able to have a hands-on experience with them until they roll out to Australia. So affiliate marketing, that's one thing. A, I don't hit the subscriber level, but B, I'm also in the wrong location. And there was another one. What was the other one that was testing in like Turkey? Off the top of my head, I can't think of what it was, but there was a few that aren't even testing in this region. So it doesn't matter how big a channel you are or what content you make or anything. I'm just in the wrong location. So I mean, sometimes they test stuff in Australia. They do. I think it's nearly like they try to make it fair-ish, but you know, it's one of those things. And there was an excellent point that was made. Now, I want to say it was in Doug's stream, but I'm not 100% certain. I do think it was Doug's stream, but an excellent point made in, it would be nice if these things were available to where your largest audience is, rather than where you as the creator is located. So so for Doug, he's over the 10K, but he's in Australia, so he doesn't have access to the affiliate marketing. But the majority of his audience are in the US, so why would you not have access to it if your majority of your audience is in this one location? But anyway, I don't pretend to understand YouTube's decision-making process for these things. I have no idea. But it also just makes things a little trickier, because if it's being limited to the streamer's or the creator's location, and their location only gives them access to certain things, if their audience aren't in that region of those certain things, then there's no point. And this is one of the big things. One of the big takeaways I noticed at Vid Summit was the absolute sheer number of larger creators who are no longer being affiliated or doing things in that vein. They're actually creating their own products to sell directly. So, you know, it wasn't even just like the Mr. Beasts with his Beastables or you know, who does Prime? Anyway, the Prime drink, it's not even those. But it's things like there's beauty channels that have their own line of makeup. There's there was an education channel here in Australia who she created her own line of organizers. Things like this where Logan Paul does do Prime. Thank you, Home Rapid Repair. But, you know, all of these different things. So you think about what it is that your niche does. So there's a DIY ladies channel whose name I cannot remember, but I went and subscribed because I'm in for it, who makes like hand tools and power tools to suit women. And they're not just like pink. They're slightly smaller handle grips for the women that have got small hands. I've got small hands. You know how hard using some cordless drills are. They're designed for giant man hands. They're not designed, so I can bet, like I have to hold it on a funny angle just so I can even hold it at all, plus pull the trigger of the drill. And so, you know, all of these sorts of things, being able to actually design something specifically for your audience, I think is a really special thing to be able to do. And obviously you need an audience size that makes that it makes it possible, obviously, because otherwise there is always that point of cost versus effectiveness. But yeah, it's definitely something to consider and to think about as you're going forward. Here we go. I saw a new feature on YouTube uploading on my phone, asks if you wanted to make clips. So I assume you can upload it again if you've already uploaded full video, so you can upload again to pick a clip. I actually haven't seen that. I honestly, I don't upload anything from my phone. So I'll have to have a test and have a look at it, but I don't know anything about that. I can imagine you couldn't, because YouTube doesn't usually allow you to upload the same content twice. They flag it as duplicate instantly. But there would be a way for you to go in and create your clips externally, if that's a thing. Not externally, but like if you go into your Creator Studio. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I think some of the monetization things are limited to country treaties that address international commerce. Look, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's complicated. Absolutely. Home Rapid Repair says, I've heard that large channels on podcasts mentions that when they have a large audience, they can make much more with their own products than sponsors. Oh, absolutely. And it's sponsoring your own content with your own products, because then you're actually just sending people back to yourself to purchase the product, and then they'll watch the content to learn how to utilize that product, things like that. So there are so many more advantages to creating a product of your own. But obviously you do need to be of a certain size channel. Yeah, Sarah Renee Clark has her color block. Absolutely. And this is the thing, you do need to make sure it's the other advantage, especially like with Sarah's color block. Even people who aren't avid YouTube viewers, artists will appreciate the color block. They will appreciate, oops, I just went to remove it and put it back. They will so think of like the niche as a whole, not just the niche as your audience. So when you're creating a product, think about, okay, what can artists get help with? They don't have to be artists who watch your channel, because this could be something that could down the track maybe eventually be actually put in art supply stores, or and be sold through distributorships rather than just directly from your personal warehouse. There's a much broader picture of these things that can happen as you grow and as you make a product that that people want. So people that are in your niche, that are utilizing your skill set to learn something. Think of the broader picture. So if you've got, like, say you've got 5,000 people who watch your channel and learn how to repair some drywall, while there's 5,000 people who are subscribed to the channel, how many additional viewers who are non-subscribers do you have? That's one metric to look straight at. But then you can actually extrapolate that out to think of, like, how many people are buying this particular dodgy drywall tube or tool that is awful, that could actually be helped with this better improved tool that you have, and think of ways that can be pushed into a broader field. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. That's nothing to do with live streaming, but that's a whole other way to make money for your channel. Sorry, I very much went off topic there, but definitely worth keeping an eye on these things, keeping what's moving in your market. Yeah, that's actually a really big thing. Biggest thing with these products is it depends on if it's a real item, like physical stock that requires manufacturing and distribution, versus a digital product which is housed in the ether or on the web. And that is actually really that's a really big thing. But I'm finding that a lot of these products that are being sold, that they're having the most, well, I am using broad strokes here, that I'm seeing a lot of conversations around recently, they are physical products. They are not digital products. And that is in itself a barrier to entry. So if you've got a digital product that you think is really awesome, you can host that. You can put it in places to sell. You don't have to worry about manufacturing or distribution or, minimum purchase sizes, to keep, the stock rolling through, and what's the lead time to make the next batch. So, there's all of these sorts of things that come into manufacturing. But when you have a digital product, you can just sort of put it on a digital shelf and just send people to it. And there's no barrier to entry really on that. So you've got to think, is a digital product going to cut it? Like what is it that you're trying to sell? Versus is a physical item the thing that your community need? But so you really do just have to think about it. Home Rapid Repair says, great points. My viewers may be very transactional with their views, but sounds negative. But positive is these evergreen topics gain views forever. I have a video on my Fiberific channel that when I first posted it, it got nothing. It got maybe 50 views. And I was actually really disappointed because I thought it was something that would be helpful for people and give them good information about something that's a little harder to find information on. And I was a little bit disappointed. And it's a small channel, it's a small niche. And over time, I started noticing it was getting traction. And that's when I realized, okay, evergreen content is a thing. Now, this is a video I made about 7 or 8 years ago. And it's actually now one of my top performing videos month on month, and has been for quite a few years. And it constantly gets views, and people write really positive comments in there all the time. And I've thought about remaking it, but I'm like, okay, at my level of skills, I can't make it better at this stage. But once I work out a way to make it better, make it more visual, make it easier to understand, then I'll consider remaking that video. But having something that may not so much take off now, but could take off down the track by making it as evergreen as possible. Evergreen content is one of those things. Live streams are not evergreen. Like, I hate to say it, they're really just not. They really, and this is the disappointing side of being so passionate about live streaming. They really are for the now. They get their most traction is now while it's live, and then within the next 24 hours as the different time zones catch up, and then maybe for a week or so. But after that, it's kind of out of people's minds. They miss the live. And not everybody likes a live, and then even less people like to watch a live replay. Whereas if you make your content as an evergreen video, it is there in its entirety for the long haul. And it may not hit now, but it could hit in 3 months, and then it could hit again in 2 years. And you haven't had to do anything additional other than just keep a little eye on it and make sure it's still current. And that's the huge impact of evergreen content, because I tend to make VOD content, and those VODs don't always tick the box of evergreen. They're addressing an issue that's happening now, and that issue could happen again down the track for sure. And it's a VOD, so it's only a few minutes long. It's not hours. So you've got to sit down and make these decisions for yourself. Like, I'm all about the live streams. I love live streams. I love the interaction. I love that you guys can drop in a question right now and I can see it and I can try and answer it. I don't always have the answers, but I can try and answer it. And so being able to do the live streams for me is what's special, but this may not be the best path for you. You need to decide, is this what you want to do? Is this the path you want to go down? For me, I found that live streaming helped me to develop my speaking tone and my intonations better for my VOD. So it's nearly like a practice ground where I get comfortable talking to you, like talking to my camera, but to you. And so it's really helped with that, because I do have a stutter. I do get tongue-tied, and I really do have to think about the order that I put my words in. And sometimes I get flustered and lost and lose track of thought. And in a live stream, that's fine. Larry has bought 5 coffees. Happy Monday morning for those down under. Thank you, Larry.
Yes, it's coffee time. Coffee, 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 coffee. Cappuccino. Java. Yes.
And it is Monday morning here. Absolutely. But have a think about what it is that you want to utilize your live streaming for. Do you have a large audience that wants that interactivity and that connection? Or do you want to utilize it as a way to get more confident and to get more practice and to just be able to keep on point and keep on task with what it is that you're talking about? Now, for me, as you know, I do make sure I try and get into the comments. So I don't tend to so much do like a point by point presentation as such in my live streams, which can totally work, but I tend to interact more with the chat. Speaking of which, Russell's in the chat after a conference, so just stopping in to say hi. Well, I hope you have fun. Is the conference you're doing at 3 a.m. local time? Goodness me. Live stream consultant said, I can tell you I did not see any of that searching for your words when we visited while in Texas. Well, you know, it's different when I'm in person chatting with just socially. My husband didn't realize I had a stutter for years because it happens when my brain gets stressed or over busy or there's too many things going on in it at the same time. And it was just like, we were with my mum one day and I got flustered and started stuttering, and he was just like, wow, that's new. And my mum was like, no, that's not new. And so it was bizarre, but it does creep in every now and again. I do have to keep an eye on it. Tip from creator support: it's best to use Google Chrome in incognito mode. I was using Brave, but when sharing my WordPress post, a major part of the recording would go black. I mean, I tend to use, I'm a big user of, it's right here. What's it called? Oh my goodness. Arc. I use Arc, which is Chromium based. So yeah, sorry, it took me a little second just to see it. But originally Arc was Mac OS only, but it's now opened up across. So I've actually got it on my Windows devices now as well. Otherwise, I'm a Chrome user. You depart from home at 3 a.m. for a 6 a.m. flight to Phoenix. Oh my goodness. So OBS is live streaming, but not so much a browser. But yeah, definitely OBS is always a solid choice if you have the time and energy to learn something a bit more technical. And that's the thing to remember with OBS. OBS is fantastic. It is free, and there's so many tutorials on it, and there's always updates happening, and there's always plugins and things that can be utilized for it. But it also has a very steep learning curve, and not everybody has the bandwidth for that learning curve. So it's one of those things, and that's something I'll be talking about in this upcoming videos, is the different levels of learning curve to be able to pick up these new softwares after you've been used to something else or things like that. So some of them will be a bit more OBS level, and some of them will be a bit more, StreamYard level. Florida Manufacturer says Chrome for browser, Firefox as backup. So I have Arc, which is Chromium, Chrome, which is Chromium, and then I also have Firefox as well. So it's always good. Like I'm definitely like with you, Russell, on this one, where it is definitely worth having more than one already downloaded and set up on your computer, and not just having a Chromium based thing, because an issue could be with Chrome and you need to go outside of the Chrome atmosphere, or that's not atmosphere, out of the Chrome circle to try something external to Chrome to see if that's the problem. But I'm not a Safari user, so for me it's Firefox or one of the Chromiums. So and I can tell you it is never Edge. Like, thank you Microsoft computers, it's never Edge. OBS can do everything, even eating your ice cream for you, ish, maybe. It can do a lot. It can actually do it. OBS can absolutely do everything you want it to do, if you have the bandwidth, and if you have the internet, and if you have the skills to put it together. We have a guest. Where's our guest? There's Louis. Good morning, Louis. He's like, oh my gosh, you've put my hyena haircut on the computer again. So yeah, it's Louis really desperately needs to. Abby thought it'd be really funny for Louis to have a mohawk. Unfortunately, as he walks around the yard, he looks more like a hyena than he has a mohawk. So it needs to come off. The poor dog. I have issues with Chrome case refusing to give up to new passwords or logins. Firefox will save the day. Look, I actually don't use Chrome or Firefox for any of my logins. I am an avid fan of 1Password, and then I can have that across all of my devices, and it's extra secure. So, but it's up to every individual to decide on how they want to handle their passwords. But I highly recommend 1Password to have a look at it. One of the things I love about 1Password, also not an affiliate or anything like that, but one of the things I love about 1Password is that I can actually set up a separate little section for passwords that I share. So like Netflix and Prime and all those sorts of ones that I want to share with my husband and daughter, they've got access to it from there. So that if I change it on my computer for whatever reason it needs a password change, it automatically changes it in 1Password for them, and then they've instantly got access to the new password. So I love being able to do that. And if I change my password on my computer and then I'm on my phone, and on my phone I use Chrome rather than on my computer when I use Arc, it's a big advantage if you are a multi-platform user. So, between Mac OS, iOS on my phone, on my little spare phone and my iPad, and Windows and Android. I equally got my fingers in all the different things. So being able to use all of the different things with the same password protection made me happy. It worked for my brain. I wonder if it'll work for yours as well. Manufactured Home Living says there've been no live lately, but now regularly publishing a podcast every 2 weeks after the course with Jerry Potter. That is awesome. I am so glad that you're having a go with something, and I'll be very curious to hear how it's going. So one thing I'll say about about Russell here is that he's a doer. He gets in, he learns the thing, and then he just does it. And you may not hear from him for a while because he's too busy doing things. And I love that. And then he gets the growth and he gets the income and all the things that come with actually doing. Livestream Consultant says, I've had issues with different software not liking Chrome, so I have to use Firefox, and have had the reverse as well. Some software just won't work on Firefox but works on Chrome. And then if you've got to do anything with the Australian government, can't use Chrome, you need to use Edge, and it's just awful. Some things are designed with specific browsers in mind. Sorry, I had to get through. And so you have to be a little bit flexible, because if you are a person who is using multiple websites or multiple features of different things, you need to be flexible, and you need to go, okay, on this, I'm going to this thing, I'll need to open Firefox, or I'm on this thing, so I'll be able to use something Chrome, or you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, oh, I've got to go to a government website. I'm going to have to use Edge or Bing or some horrible, they're horrible. I don't like them. Some people love them. Actually, I don't know anybody who loves them, but do you love them? Nobody in my real life uses anything outside of a Chrome or a Chrome or a Firefox or even a Safari. I don't know anybody who's like, oh yeah, I'm totally into Bing, except for my father-in-law, who is not tech. He's not a tech guy. He's not a tech guy. Edge is literally on the edge of hair-pulling banhammer outbursts. It really is. I really don't like it. The Australian government software sounds like 1998. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Today's podcast released at 10 a.m. So far, 1,000+ views on YouTube, but only 1 download on Buzzsprout. Hey, do you have these on your monetized channel? Just out of curiosity. because like I still don't look at that as a bad thing. And also, can you see, like, if you're putting them onto YouTube on your monetized channel, are you setting them up under a podcast? And are you looking at them, the difference between their actual views versus their audio listening views from people listening to them? Because you can listen to podcasts through YouTube Music now. So you've got all these extra ways that you can see if people are utilizing the listen only versus the video as well. Oh yeah, same as in England, some government document forms only work on some. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's what is it with governments? Like, seriously, I love all the love in here for Russell. I think it's awesome because he's working hard. He's doing it. I love it. It's so cool. Let's have a look here. All right. I've told so many lawyers who draft their own forms if they use another search engine if they work. Yeah. Yes, on a monetized channel, saved as podcast, no audio version on YouTube. It's a Jerry thing. So, but automatically, like, I'm just going to have a look here because it should actually automatically be in YouTube Music. Anything that's using a podcast playlist is automatically added into the podcasts on YouTube Music. I'm just what's your podcast called? So I can look it up. I'm just checking in YouTube Music just to see if it's in YouTube Music. I'm just seeing if Florida manufactured home living. Well, there you go. Top result. Florida manufactured home living podcast. Oh, I want that to go away. Stop that. It's automatically playing music. Anyway, it came straight up. Florida manufactured home living podcast is available on as an audio only option in YouTube Music. It's just one of the things that the podcast section automatically does. So you don't have to populate that with an audio only version. I'm just going to mute my phone so that you don't give me a copyright strike. But I'm just going to see if it comes up as yeah, it plays as audio only. So you've just got the screen and it's just playing it as audio only. I'm just double checking it's playing. Yeah, it's just playing as audio only. So you do have that ability. And so these live streams, I actually have a podcast so people can listen to them, and people do. It's really bizarre because I don't specifically make these for an audio first. And so, you know, I'll do screen shares. I'll do things like that. You don't even know where the audio stats are. Let me just see if I can go back. I think I just killed that. And then I need to go content, playlists, and then under the playlist, I'm just double checking. If I can. I don't know. I know that when you look at it as the podcast on mobile, it shows you how many views you've had after it was live. I'll have to look into it to find you the exact screens to find that, because I don't know it off the top of my head. Let me just I'm in my content. I'm in the podcasts. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to have a look into it, but definitely. Do you get money for audio podcasts? Yes, you do. On YouTube, a view is a view is a view. I double checked it with, I double checked some information with Renee Ritchie, so the YouTube creator liaison, and you do get paid for views in, we do get paid for views that happen from the audio first, so in YouTube Music, and those views also count towards monetization. So I definitely am putting these in both for myself. It's more of a test. I honestly didn't think anyone would listen to this as a podcast, but apparently they do. So it's worth me keeping adding them. So, but yeah, and we'll definitely go for a deeper dive on trying to find those audio stats, because they do exist. They are here somewhere. They are here. I'm just trying to find them. So podcasts. Oh, I went to playlists rather than podcasts. There we go. So if you click on the podcast, you can go to the analytics for your podcasts. And see that as the playlist and see how many views people are coming to it from that playlist. So you don't get as much information. Like, I want to be really clear. There's nowhere near the kind of data that you get from the video level analytics that you get, but you get something. You're going to have to get some stream elements so we can have some fun with the Louis Cam using some filters. He's a bit cute. I think he'd like that. But yeah, definitely stream elements is on my list of stuff to play with and have a look at. Oh, absolutely. The podcast allows a different format, different content for a different audience. And that's a really big thing to remember. It is for a different audience. There's different types of people that want to listen instead of watch. Okay. And Russell's got this, like, this is exactly right. And to grow discovery, trust, and status with a different audience. So it's very important to understand that it is a different thing. And for me, it's like I'm multi-streaming to YouTube and to LinkedIn, right? And that's a different audience. You can't go live in a podcast. But I'm live here on a live stream, and once it's live, once the live stream is finished, it plays in the podcast section. So yeah, or at least I don't think you can watch it live in podcast. I'm not sure now. I'm not sure. I don't know why anyone would want to listen. I suppose it'd be like listening to a live radio show, really, wouldn't it? I don't know, actually. I don't tend to put these guys into my podcast playlist until after I've finished anyway. So maybe if I did put them in first, we could test that to see if they show up. But I think it's one of those discoverability things where it could take a little bit of time. So the thing is, legal-minded friends with Karen, is that the podcast, I think, don't go into the podcast app, as in YouTube Music, until after they've finished what's the word I'm looking for when you do a live stream and after it finishes processing. I don't think it actually appears until it's processing, until it's finished processing. Now, I could be 100% wrong, and I need to double check this, but I don't believe you can listen to the podcasts while they're live, but I will double check it. Yeah, that's right. A live can be a podcast as well, but I don't know if a podcast can be live, at least in the podcast section. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's got to finish processing. So it's got to process the audio for the audio only bit. Yeah. And so that's where my brain went. But I'm actually not 100% certain. And Russell, I add all of these lives to my podcast list. So all of my lives are in a podcast. Well, most of them are in the podcast list. I try not to add the dumpster fires. So yeah. No live podcast, just lives. Yeah, I know it is confusing a little bit. And the thing to remember is you can add anything into a podcast playlist. Anything that has audio, it can be added into a podcast playlist. But will it succeed as a podcast is a whole nother question. And are you just wasting people's time? So you still got to think about the audience that you are working with. if a lot of your audience are like, oh, I try just to listen while I'm going for a walk or something like that, they would be a really great fit for an audio only version of your content, as long as you're not referencing, you know, things for them to view, because that is frustrating for people. So when you're recording a podcast intended to be a podcast, right? You need to think about the majority of your audience, or the majority of your intended audience, are not watching, they are listening. So if you're screen sharing, if you're bringing things up on screen for them to see, you know, things like that, they're not going to see any of that. So you are diminishing what it is, the experience that they'll get out of it. So if you are recording or planning a podcast, you need to be thinking audio first. Now, it's not to say that every now and again you can't bring something on, but just remember to describe it. Remember to say, hey, we've just brought on this funny video. You can hear it, but this is also what's happening. You know, like, you have to remember that these people are not watching. They are only listening. Whereas we can record a podcast live like this. You know, I've done it. I've been in them. I've been guests in them, where it is actually an intended podcast, but podcast also can have video too. So yeah. Legal Minded Karen says, I am trying to make my videos to make sense as an audio as well. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's cool. And have fun with your premiere as well. So yeah, we've really gone down a little rabbit hole today, haven't we? It's like, welcome to a live stream with Chantelle, where we may not talk about anything that you thought we were going to talk about. Like, and the coffee is finished and I'm on to just water. All I have is water. And Russell's right. It depends on your audience. So you've got to think about that. Who's it for? Who's it for? SMA Sky, it's good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. But yeah, so, and this is true for anything, for absolutely anything that happens as a creator. You need to think about who is the intended audience, because nothing that you do will work if you are focusing on something outside of your audience. So you need to be focusing on what it is that your audience, like what it is that you want to give your audience, what it is that your audience wants to receive, what it is that your audience is interested in or will help them. But the second you start focusing on something external to your audience, like, I want to make sales on this item, you know, so you really need, so it's not to say you can't be like, I want to make sales on this item, but you need to think about it is, how is this item useful for this audience? And it may not be. And so you may have to think about a different item for that audience. So you have to think about the audience first. No, don't be sorry. It's totally fine. It is exactly what we do here. It is the magic that's these live streams. I love the rabbit holes. I'm always curious to see where we end up, because it is an adventure. Live streaming is an adventure. And that's how I try to think about it, is I can have a plan, I can have a goal, I can have points that I want to make. Like, my points for today was make sure that everyone goes and watches Doug's live stream where he went through the details, the minutia of all the information about the new updates. And also, if you're on LinkedIn, to go and check your LinkedIn settings to see if you are happy with them using all of your data and information to train their AI. And that were my two main points for today. So everything else is gold, right? It's all like little bits of sprinkly gold all over everything. And Louis Cam. Like, how can we not love a bit of Louis Cam on a Sunday evening? You know, like Louis Cam. And he's being such a good boy. There's so many dogs out barking and he's just hanging out here with us. So I think that's amazing as well. I have no issues with people who have the very specific live streams where they want to go through and just be very focused and focusing on their replay audience, and that definitely works as well. But you have to think about what is your audience expecting. So for me, you guys have gotten used to how our live streams run here. I don't make my live streams specifically for the replay audience. I make my live streams for you who made it here at this particular time, at the same time as me. You're my focus because you have made the effort to be here at this time. Now, it's not to say that the people in different time zones wouldn't be here if they could. I'm sure they would, but I know it's the middle of the night for some people, and I get that. I really do. I understand that. So, and so I'm not like diminishing the replay audience, but for me, my focus is you who is here. So if you've got a question, if you've got something that you want me to touch on in regards to social media or YouTube or anything that I could possibly try and help with, which I don't know everything. I as a matter of fact, I know like this much and there's this much to know. I know little bits about some things, but if I can help you understand, I will. Let's have a look here. Need to get you an Indiana Jones fedora hat for the live streams. I'd be more likely to wear an Indiana Jones fedora hat than I would be a cowgirl hat, Russell, who did try to get, there was very much discussion about me buying a hat while I was in Texas. I'm a cap girl. I like caps. And B, there is no way I was going to be able to get that home, like in luggage. It was just going to be, it was going to be insane. I removed LinkedIn about a year ago, got way too many scam calls as people could pay to see contact details. I don't get any scam information, and I've got a lot of friends who've got, I mean, I get no scam calls as far as I was aware, outside of my usual scam calls that I get. But I mean, I've paid for LinkedIn Premium and I couldn't see people's phone numbers if they didn't put them in. Like I've got my phone number set to, at least I'm going to be double checking now, but I thought I don't know if my phone number is even in LinkedIn, and B, I think I had it set to like all the private lockdowns. So I will double check it. Yeah, I do recall the conversation about boots, and it was just like, no, not scams, but spams. Yep. Spam calls. Yeah. Look, I mean, I regularly get spam calls. I'm pretty lucky. Two things I've got on my phone. It's Android, so Google have really good spam detection. So it all spam calls automatically get diverted. But also I have what's my security service called? Mobile Trend Security, which I have on my phone as well. So I have Trend Security on my desktops, my laptops, my iPad, and my phones. So that that helps me with spam calls as well. So yeah, I one of the things was like, I'm like, Chantelle sounds like a total security freak. I did Leon Segev's YouTube security for YouTubers course. If you can do it, go and do it. Like, it's not free, but if you've got the money for it, go and do it. It will open your eyes to a lot of stuff and will help you be a little bit more security conscious about some things. Now, even in the course, Leon says that there's no 100% protection anywhere, but you can make things so hard for hackers that they just give up on you and go somewhere where it's going to be easier. So that's my goal, is to make life harder for the hackers. In all honesty, I'm sure a good hacker could do whatever they want, but for those that are like have a specific goal, I try to make my access to things as hard as possible for them. So yeah, it's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those courses that helps you to understand that line. Oh, Louis is off. Bye, Louis. Chantelle, we're here not just for the info that you have to offer, but it's you we're here for as well. You take on whatever the topic is for the stream. That's the you in YouTube for us. That's awesome. I love that, because I'm all about the you in YouTube. I have one of my first videos on this channel was about making sure that the you in YouTube is here for me, because I need to be able to show up every week, even when I'm not feeling my best, and not have to feel like I'm putting on a persona. I need to be able to just slide into this chair, turn everything on, and just go. And if I have to be someone else for that or act as something else, I'm not a good actor. So I can't just do that. Whereas some people can do it phenomenally well. So I have a version of me that is for YouTube, and I have a version of me that's for when I'm out in public, and I have a version for me that's with my friends, and there are little intersections of all those things because it's versions of me, like the real me. So yeah. Abby, is that you? Oh, it's about had a heart attack. Louis disappeared, and then all of a sudden I can hear like shuffling in plastic containers, and I'm just like, wait a second. So Louis just helping himself to the groceries. No, Abby is awake. So that's a relief. I'm relieved. That is definitely a relief. But yeah, so and this should be the same thing for you on your channels as well. Like there needs to be an element of you in there because no AI can take that. No other channels can take that. It's got to have a portion of your personality in there. And it's just one of these things where you have to be part of the package, right? Whether it's just a little tiny slither of you or whether it's half of you or whatever, it's up to you to decide if that's what you're comfortable with and what you can maintain and what you can continue with. You have to make that decision. Livestream consultant says, I didn't see any difference in you when I spoke to you in person. Well, that's kind of good, right? Like, is that not good? I think that's good. But yeah, so, you have to make these decisions for yourself and for your own content to see what works sort of for you. So yeah, you've just got to judge for yourself and make plans for yourself, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I could come in every single week and live stream and be a totally different person than what I am in my real life. I don't think I could maintain that. Like we all know, YouTube is a marathon. It's a long haul. And I don't think I could maintain that in the long haul. I struggle enough to maintain like a professionalism for long amounts of time. I'm that person who will just like crack the bad joke, which sometimes doesn't land. Yeah, that happens. That happens. But anyway, so do you have any more questions for me for today? Are we all done? Is this it? I just need I want to, there it is. I need to open that back up and go back here. There we go. I cannot say the same for others that I have met that are YouTube personalities. They do treat it as an acting job-ish. I think it depends on the content that they're putting out. But some people do truly act a role and they need to get into their role and they need to be that. Now, one thing for me is I definitely try there is a difference between me with my family than there is between me with you guys, because that's that level of work versus home. So it's definitely one of those things. Russell, I think they're on mobile only. I just off the top of my head, I do think I've only seen them in the YouTube studio for mobile. Analytics, dashboard, analytics. Let me just see. Content, podcasts. Yeah, I'll have to double check it, but I did think that the analytics for the audio stats were on mobile only. Yeah, I do. But I think we'll have to watch that live stream to that call, Russell. Russell and I are both in the same paid membership group, and there will be a call coming up where these two are going to probably talk about that. Yeah, that's a story. That's a story. Anyway, where was I? I was double checking this screen. I got sidetracked by Russell asking about the audio stats. Oh, I was talking about this. Sorry. I cannot say the same for others that I've met that are YouTube. They treat it as an acting job. And this is the thing. Different people need to do different things to protect their own mental health. And some people really are playing a role. Like, you've got to think about what their content is, and they are playing a role. And then also you've got some people that seem very corporate in their videos, or very like prime example is Justin Brown. You watch Justin Brown's primal video content and you think he's like this super straight-laced, buttoned up kind of guy, but you get him in one of his PBA calls or even in person, and he is so much more relaxed and so much more chill. And like, it's like a total step down. Like, he's still clever and smart and knows everything that he knows, but the personality that he is putting on is different. So you've got to think about what it is, because they're aiming for a certain audience. So what does that audience need? Have a think about that. So if, like, say you had like a tradesman audience, do you think they're going to respond well to a corporate style content? Probably not. It depends on the tradesman, obviously, and what the content is. But if you are like, say, home rapid repair, right? And you're making content to help people fix things, if you end up being like really stuffy and just really like prim and proper and just like I don't know the best way to describe, like really corporate and dry is probably where I'm going. Like, not all corporate is dry, okay? But if you watch any, like, some of them are terrible, but if you watch the actual videos of like brands, like the coffee machine brands and things like that, it's like watching an ad. It's not like watching content. So you have to think about your audience and what are they going to respond to. And some people need a character to help with that. And so they do slip into that character. That's not me. I can't do that. I'm a dreadful actor. And so I need to be more myself. Otherwise, I'm not going to continue it on. So you have to think about, whereas some people, they cannot be themselves all the time because it's too raw. They need to put on a persona to be able to create. So you're going to have to do this balance between what do you need to do to keep doing this forever, or for the long, 10 years, say 10 years, maybe not forever, but for 10 years, versus what does your audience need? Oh, that's funny. We used to call them the white hats. That was the reference to the shiny white hard hats they always wore when they showed up on a job site back in the former days, where it proved that they hadn't gotten their hands dirty in a long, long time. Yeah, I think of white hat as like as in, like, I consider Leron Segev a white hat. So he is like a hacker who has been turned for the good side, and he helps to protect things. Like, I think of black hats and white hats rather than white hats and worn hats. So yeah. Oh, and they usually had clipboards. Oh my gosh. Yes, I have the mental image now. I have it. Oh my gosh. Yes, but you know who I'm talking about. These people that are just, and I think Leanne might have it there, non-approachable, where they are a little bit just stuffy and corporate. I'm like bagging out the corporate left, right, and center. No, I'm not. There's a place for corporate stuff, absolutely, but I don't want to be getting it on YouTube. I want to be able to sit back and enjoy while I'm learning. It's that simple. I don't want it to be like a classroom. I want it to be an enjoyable learning process. And I find that the teachers that I've learnt better from are those that love what they're teaching and enjoy it, versus those that are just there because they have to be. So role playing versus projecting the genuine you. Yeah, I think we all need to have a little bit of ourselves in these videos. Luxury consultants. Yeah. Yes. I'll just say yes to that. But yeah, like making sure that you are part of your content. And I get that there's faceless channels and there's topics where your face doesn't need to be in it. I get that, but you still need to have your input in it. You still need to, like, even if it's a faceless, voiceless channel, the kind of content that you're making, delivered in a specific way, needs to be something that you can continue on with. Anyway, on that note, everybody, I think I'm going to run away. I've got a pile of work to catch up on, and I need to give my back a little break. I've realized I've been rolling my shoulders forward, and I've kind of got to I've got one chair in my house that I can actually lean back on. So for those of you that are still here, I had to go back in and get another run at my stage 2 melanoma. It's what they call a clearance. So where they weren't happy with how much they took last time. They like to have they like to have 5 millimeters clearance around all the cancer cells, and they only got 2. So they don't think there's more cancer, but they will send it off to double check. But they had to go back in and take a lot more, and there's a lot more stitches, and there's internal stitches, and I'm not having fun. I'm not enjoying the process at all. Oh my gosh. Yes, I so desperately want to try a Secret Lab gaming chair. So much. Oh my gosh. Yes, very much. With the little padded comfy armrests and the magnetic head mover thing that you can put wherever you need it. Oh, that would be so amazing. But yeah, so I'm not enjoying anything at the moment because the number of things that I can't do, like I can't drive right now because the stitches are in the middle of my back. So, you know, you think about anything that moves your hands or moves your head, and it all pulls. So it's not great, and it's got to stay for another 10 days, I think. Is it 10 days? I don't want it to be 10 days. I think it's another 10 days. I'm not happy. Next Friday is when, and then even then it'll still be, you know, that stitches out day, then there's more to happen. Oh, that's what you have. Sawmill Abraham had one, so you can't go wrong. For me, Linus Tech Tips has got it. So everyone at Linus has got these chairs. So I'm like, I think I would like to try one, but that's the problem. I don't think there's anywhere here where I can try one before I buy one. So I like to try a chair before I buy it, especially when they're very expensive chairs. It's like $500 US for one of those chairs. Very expensive. Yeah. Like, and it's, you just don't realize how much your skin moves across your back just while you're doing things. You just don't think about it until you can't do it. And then you're just like, oh, yep, nope, stopping that. Here we go. They are stiff at first, but wonderful support. And my question is the lumbar adjustable? Because the issue I have with this particular chair is the lumbar is not on my lumbar. It's so low and there's no way to push it up. So I basically am it's just bad. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think I can ask anyone to send me out something to review it. They get to utilize channels like Linus Tech Tips that has 15 million subscribers. They're not going to look at me. So, and they do, is that yes to, oh my gosh. Oh, see, okay. All right. I'm sold. I'm like, do I need to replace some lights first or get the chair? Because, like, I'll tell you one thing that's happening is when the Mac M4 drops, I'll be purchasing a MacBook Pro. I don't know if I'm going to go with the M4 or the M3 at this stage. I'll decide later. But that's going to happen. And then after that, will it be the lights or the chair? Livestream consultant says, get the chair. I was out shopping with Doug one day and we found this really comfortable, ridiculously comfortable chair at JB Hi-Fi. And I'm just like, do I go and see if that chair is still around? I don't know. Live large, you only live once. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. But, you know, I do have a budget, so I have to keep within that. But I'm like, the lights still work, right? The lights still work. I could use the light money because the lights I want to buy is like $1,000 worth of lights. So the lights could just wait a bit. Yeah. No, I'm like, all right, this is the deal. Like, you guys, we're here for the fun times now. I've got lights, right? But they're on these, it's on a table mount. Hang on a second. I can just show them to you because they're a bit bright, all right? So let me just switch to Louis Cam. Where's Louis? Let me, actually, there's I have a screen share with mobile somewhere. Where is it? iPhone share. There we go. Okay. So they're up there, but see the black desk mount I have running behind everything, right? I probably should have shut the window, but I didn't, right? And I want to replace those little Yongnu's with some apertures that are multicolor, and then I can connect them to a whole pile of stuff, right? One of them being, let me just go back here. One of them being, I want to be able to connect them to my Google, because I very much say, like I have a command that I say and all my lights turn on. So that it's easy, because I do have a lot of lights, but two of the colored lights, while their power can be controlled that way, that's all that can be controlled. I still have to manually switch them on. And that's the same with these guys. I still have to manually switch them on and off. And with where I've put them now, my arms are a bit short, and especially at the moment, stretching over to turn them off and on. Not awesome. So I've been looking at the what do they call, the Aperture C90 panels. I think that's what they are. They can be controlled both by the Aperture Creator app as well as with Stream Deck. Yeah, so you know, there's all that sort of stuff. So like I want the lights so that I can just control everything and just have it turn on and turn off when I want it to, not have to go around and switch everything off and switch everything on. I'm such a first world problem. Like, I get it. I really do. And like, this is a really nice leather office chair. Like, this is a nice chair. But again, it's just not good for me. I can't adjust the lumbar. The lumbar pushes in the wrong spot. The actual seat itself is comfortable. Like, don't get me wrong, but I may as well be sitting on a stool. Like, because I can't lean back on, well, certainly can't lean back right now, but it's not, the lumbar is pushing into my, like the lumbar is here and it's pushing in under it. Like, so it's like, anyway, there's no support. This chair offers zero support. So I want to go out to my comfy lounge chair. You can tip the chair back and snooze on the fully adjustable pillow. I mean, it's not going to be the goal, but that would be nice to be comfortable. I won't be getting the massage function. That's not, I don't want that. I don't want that. I do want a not black chair though, because I quite often wear black t-shirts, and having the black chair and the kind of lights that I have means I sometimes blend into the chair. So, and I do have a light here that's, you know, a hair light. But it doesn't, it's not quite strong enough. So yeah. And I wouldn't even move like one of these lights over there, because I can't, like, it's right up high. I wouldn't be able to reach it, turn it off and on. Here we go. The flame red then. I don't even know what colors there are. Like, I have so not looked. I'm like, I don't want to look. They probably don't even deliver them to Australia. I'm considering buying a DIY Stream Deck whenever I have some time. Could be a topic for a video. Not so much for this channel though. Look, it's one of those things. How do I put this? Your channel is about space and that sort of thing. I definitely wouldn't put it on your channel unless it in some way you can DIY it to control some features on your telescope or on your camera or whatever it is. But you've got to be really cautious. That's a fine line. I'm all for Stream Decks. I have the Stream Deck app on my iOS devices so that I've actually got full size. Like, let me just open it up. Let me just see. So I've got the app, so it actually totally functions as a Stream Deck as well, and it's separate. So this is actually a different view than what my Stream Deck is. So you can actually set it up, like when you're setting it up, this is actually this is my mobile, but then there's also there's also On my iPad, it's the full 64, like there's 11 billion buttons. They're really great. So I can have like the iPad, so all three of them can have different screens open at once. Russell, you're not helping. They are in Australia. Well, they're probably like $11 billion. I'll have to check. I have been avoiding the website because I'm like, no, I will buy the new laptop and then I will make future decisions. And now I'm like, but this chair is really uncomfortable. Cha-ching King, great to see you here. I definitely need to figure out some live streaming. Like, if you've got any live streaming questions, like for right now, just drop them in the chat. I was going to run away, but I'm having too much fun. Look, I'm just like, do you know what? I'm just going to open up their website and just see what they cost in Australia. Just so I know what I'm looking at. Lab. Australia and New Zealand. I don't know. I'm like, do I want to look? I don't want to look. All right, so I've got the Titan Evo open. I'm gonna have a heart attack, aren't I? It's on sale. It's on sale for $764. Hang on, I need the bigger chair. I need the XL. So it's $864. I have to pay extra because of, you know, I need to. Oh, you've got the Titan Evo. Okay. Oh, and there's 66 variations. Oh my goodness. Select your add-ons. I've heard about the plush cell cloud swap arms. Oh my gosh. Check the colors. If I join the email list, I save $20. Where do I look at the colors? Is that the 66 variants? Oh my goodness. Wow. I really do get a lot of choices. I think I like the teal one. But do I want that or do I want just the leatherette? I'm kind of used to leather. Like, the thing is, like, we have cats and having the leather is this one's leather rather than leatherette. Then having the fabric would mean like I have to vacuum it rather than wipe it down. Cha-ching King, thank you. Bought 5 copies. You're fully awesome. You're fully awesome.
Coffee time.
Need those coffees.
Coffee. Cappuccino. Jabba. Yes.
All right. Here you've written, I've only done one live stream. Hundreds of people, but had terrible lag, 15 to 20 seconds. Okay, so pretty much there's always going to be lag. Now, 15 to 20 seconds does seem long. But as long as you like try to, like, I don't know what it is you're trying to do in your live streams. So being able to just account for the lag. So my lag is normally around 7 to 10 seconds. But I'm not usually 100% up to date with the chat anyway. So most people don't notice the lag. The other thing is, like, if I ask a question, I go off and do something else and then come back and check then afterwards to see, you know, if you've responded. So you may feel like I've avoided your question or something like that. And it's just how I deal with the lag. I think everyone has to deal with the lag, and it's just part of live streaming. Now, as I said, that 15 to 20 seconds does seem a little long on the long side. So maybe have a look at which live streaming software you're using. That might make a difference. And this Doug said it here as well. And I think someone said it further up. Livestream consultant said it as well. Only you notice the lag. The audience doesn't notice the lag. So as long as you keep, like, you know, like, and even just like let people know there is a lag. So, you know, like, just try not to do something where you need instant response backwards and forwards. As long as you're not doing that, it should be fine. OBS is pretty solid. Like StreamYard's actually got more lag than OBS, but OBS is pretty solid. If you're able to use the OBS and you're enjoying the OBS, I would stick with OBS. But yeah, there's always a lag, especially when interacting with comments. It's purely a case of they've got to send their data to YouTube. YouTube's got to send the data back to your streaming service. Your streaming service is sending it to you. So there is physical time in all of that. Yeah, I use Ecamm with ultra low latency. So it's about 8 seconds. And that's what I use as well. That's what I'm using right now. So I do have a lag, and I don't know if you're noticing my lag or not, but I definitely have the lag. And the big thing is, if you just sort of have other things happening so that you can be going backwards and forwards, then no one's going to notice the lag. Let's have a look here. OBS's bitrate settings, which may come into play if the internet speed is like, yeah, I'd be double checking that, but lag is different than uploading speed. So always worth checking the different settings and playing with it. Also, Cha-Ching King, I would definitely be checking out, like for OBS, I would be looking at Gaming Careers and Epos Fox. They both have like the top of the line training for OBS. So they really, really specialize, both of them specialize in OBS. So having those guys there, and if they're okay with a few seconds lag, then you know, that's how I kind of look at it. If the cream of the crop are okay with a little bit of lag and their audiences are okay, then definitely keep an eye on that. All right, let me just look at, you guys are talking about some fire and fire red. I'm just trying to find the fire red. All right. What's it called? Is it got a particular name? The fire red. Yeah, StreamYard won't lower the latency. EV Mux's latency is even bigger. I think it's about 20 seconds. So yeah, there's definitely I'm not cream of the crop. I'm more of a cheese curd. Oh, I love that. That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, Doug's saying here for OBS, for OBS, check your settings on the YouTube end. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like there's some Star Wars chairs here that I'm just like scroll past faster. Oh, they're grayed out, so they're not available. So that's okay. Here. Looking for a red one. There's a Flash red. There's a Warcraft red. Am I in the wrong section? The signature editions don't have a red at all. The sports editions don't have a red. Yeah, I was actually thinking I'm more of the watery way. That gets drained off and tipped down the sink or used in pancake batter or something. Oh dear. Which red were you guys looking at? Hang on a second. Someone put an actual name of a red and I just want to see if I can find it. Fire engine red, go for it. I don't see a fire engine red. Okay, so the mint green fabric. Let me just do this. We're just gonna do the thing. Like we're so professional. Let's wishful shop chairs. Okay. All right, there we go. This is the mint fabric is 804. Is that in the large seat variation? I don't know. I can't tell. The Flash, is that what you're thinking of? The Flash? Because there's League of Legends, but that's a bit more maroon than red. I don't think I'd like a red chair, honestly. The Warcraft Horde hybrid leatherette. That looks pretty nice. That's got some red to it. I don't know if I mean, I like this. I'm not if they took the Fortnite stuff off it and just made it pretty purple stuff. I didn't realize there was stuff on the backs. Oh, I'm so boring. I just have a black chair and I've always just gone black because black, right? So I'm looking at this. That's all. I don't know. You think the teal of the mint is more me? Yeah, I think that mint green. I think that's, I keep going back to it. Or I like a grey. Or I don't want the white. White's dangerous, but I like that Arctic grey. Or cookies and cream, it's called. I like the grey. And see, the head that looks means that when I make it grubby, no one will know. The Warcraft chair, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'm a Warcraft person. And the other thing is, right, I'd also feel like a poser. I don't play Warcraft. So, like, I think if you want the Warcraft chair, you should know something about Warcraft, right? I know nothing about Warcraft. You can't use green. Oh, because of your green screening. Absolutely, that makes total sense. Because that would be weird. You with your little Minecraft chair and green screening your chair out. Definitely understand that. Definitely understand. So I think I'm pretty well out of all the special editions. I mean, like, there's Batman. I like Batman. Batman's cool, but Batman is in black. I'm just seeing if there's any. I mean, like I mean, I like that. But where's the Star Trek? Like, that's the Empire. I would like the not Empire, please. And also there's just none there. I don't play Overwatch or Fortnite or Warcraft or Dota 3 or Valorant, although I've seen Valorant. That looks cool. Yeah, I think I would probably go in, like, you know, realistic land. I would either go this blue, dark bluish leatherette, which I think is the royal leatherette. I think that's very classy. Or I would go that fabric grey for the cookies and cream, or I would look at the mint green. That would be my likely options. So if I really wanted the leatherette, I would go for that one. If I want to go the softer, you know, less likely to stick to a chair, that one or that one. So, but no matter what, I'm looking at it like, I mean, why is that leatherette less expensive than the fabric? Is it all the leather? Why are all the leatherettes less expensive than fabric? I would like to know this. What? Does anybody understand why? I don't either. Livestream Consultants doesn't do green, but he would go for the yellow or the black. Yeah, I don't know. I'm certainly not pressing the button today. Tesla have a tan leather interior that reminded me of the bridge. Oh man, wouldn't that be amazing? Like, I would definitely, like, hook me up with Star Trek seats. I'd be there for that. I would not feel like a poser. Because you said it, you stick to the leatherette, not the fabric. But you know, this is leather and I sit on this, so. But I can get a $20 off my order by joining the mailing list. So I can do it for like $800. Now, in saying that, this chair here that's very uncomfortable is about $400. So it's not like, you know, I've got $100 chairs or something. I know the advantages of a good chair, and especially when you are sitting and you are working at your desk all the time. Like, I'm hitting the limits of this chair now. I'm starting to notice a little bit of numbness coming in. During my 3-hour live stream on Saturday morning, Friday night, the productivity stream, I definitely noticed that I was getting very uncomfortable, and I wasn't sure if it was my back or you know, my butt. But I really was uncomfortable by the time I got up and out of the chair. And I do notice things like after my live stream, I have to go and sit somewhere else for a while. I can't come straight back in here and work again because I need to get out of this chair. So definitely a chair is an important factor. So yeah, that, and they also look to be like, with the arms, can you move the arms backwards and forwards? I think you can move them backwards and forwards a little bit, or is that just the top of the arm? It's not the actual whole arm thing. Anyway, I need more information before I spend $800 on a chair, I'll be honest. You're right. It could definitely be saving me some money on some. I've just gotten a Secret Lab support. It's like, hey, we've noticed that you've been browsing. What add-on products would I go for? The memory foam armrest tops. I don't know. Would I want armrest tops? Do you need the armrest tops? Sideways and backwards. Okay. Hundreds of dollar chairs. I have a Walmart office stool with a back I paid $29 for. Look, I've gone through a lot of chairs. I'm a chair destroyer. I'm a plus size girl. I destroy chairs. But one thing I will say is since I started putting rollerblade wheels on my chairs, I've destroyed a lot less chairs. My chairs definitely last longer because it was usually, especially with the amount of yarn and fluff and everything around from crafting, the chairs would get ruined and you know, cheap chairs. And I didn't realize you could replace the wheels until Doug mentioned it. Anyway, now I replace all the wheels. The second I actually have a spare box, the second I buy them, I replace the wheels. So I can have the better wheels. Yes, go for the memory foam armrest. So the memory foam, but I'd have to get it in, like I can't have it in the color of my chair unless I go with the gray. Then I can have the gray. The gray would work with the teal or the gray. It would. It'd work with all of them. And I don't know. There's so many adjustments. Took me 3 tries to get it perfect. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like anything. You can't just go on and just buy like something and then not learn how to use it. You got to learn how to use it. So yeah. Goodness me. But there are so many choices. So my problem is, right, I need the XL chair for the weight limits. Does it change the seat depth? Because I don't want wider seat. I mean, I have to put my feet up on a footstool already. So yeah, I don't know. I have to do some research. So, but it is a chair I've been drooling over for some years, thanks to, yeah. Yeah, one of those chairs is like setting up a live stream studio. I reckon there's going to be as many tweaks, like learn how to get the camera just how you want it and the lights angled just how you want it. Russell bought $13 arm covers on Amazon instead of the memory foam and he loves them. Well, Russell, you may have to just send me the link so I can see if I can get them ones. So anyway, guys, it is one of those things. We could keep going down these rabbit holes of the technology that we love to use and that we utilize for our day-to-day. And this is the thing, right? We all have a chair. Like I have a sit-stand desk. I still need a chair, right? So is it out of the niche to discuss purchasing a chair? Yes-ish, but we all need a chair. Anyway, on that note, my friends, it's going to be the end of today's stream. I really appreciate you all hanging out and chatting. I love this. I imagine having Picard's chair and having a stream deck built into the armrests. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. It's a little, but it's not. We still all need a comfortable chair. I agree with you. Russell, you go get some rest, man. You got a big day of travel coming up. Thank you so much for jumping in. I really appreciate you spending time. I appreciate all of you spending your time here. And I will catch you all next week, you know, in between all the other things, but back here next week. Be good. Have a look at different things, test different things, be willing to test different things, and I'll catch you all next week. Bye now.